Hello guys, I'm back after some time, and in this video I'll share about my experience of first year again. Like it's basically a part 2. So I've thought that I'll share only about the dissection hall experience because it's actually a great topic to share, and I too have good experiences and some funny funny experiences also. So I'll just cover them in this video. So it all started with the first day. Here's a photo of the dissection hall, like the angan of the dissection hall, where the bones are cleaned and dried and the bodies are like preserved. So when we went inside the dissection hall, the main dissection hall, there was a quote written on the door. I remember it was written, "Where dead teaches the living," and it was quite a deep quote. Maybe most of you might have this written on your dissection hall. It's nothing new, but I'm just telling about my experience and the things I noticed there. So when we went inside, there was a lot of formalin smell, and it was first time for me. So I felt so much irritation in my nose, like I felt like itching my nose all inside, and I felt like sneezing all the time. And then I saw like scene where respectfully all the dead bodies were placed, and they weren't opened. They were just closed with white cloth, and I don't know why it made me feel panicked. I didn't feel the fear in me, but it's made me feel anxious, and my hands were shaking. Maybe like I was very anxious at the thought of seeing a dead body, maybe. But I don't think I'm so much sensitive, but I think no, that from our childhood we are just made to believe that a person covered with white cloth is signifies death. Actually it signifies death, but it's a very bad thing and a thing to be sad and be anxious. So maybe that was the reason I got panicked, but I just maintained my calm, and I was so much like I was panicking and I just wanted to run away. And but the moment they opened the corpses, my panic resolved. Actually it's the opposite. I don't know, it shouldn't have happened. Like it should have happened that when they had opened the corpses I should have panicked, but actually I panicked before on seeing all the bodies covered with white clothes. And I just thought it deeply, and I think I was like feeling a bit afraid. It reminded me of sceneries of mass casualties, like where people are covered with white clothes. Maybe that's the reason I felt panicked, though I'm not such a sensitive person in this case. mm, but on opening the bodies I could see them, and I was very curious to see them, and it was a great experience. But I was very skeptical at initial point to touch them even with gloves, because I don't know why. Maybe because I'm a vegetarian. I've been vegetarian since my childhood, and I just feel like puking at the thought of touching a flesh or at any dead body. I don't even eat eggs. I don't even like feel like touching eggs. I don't mean to like, maybe some of you might feel it a bit awkward, but it depends on person to person. Since I've never been exposed to these things, so it feels very gross to me. So this was our first story, and I still remember at initial we were dissecting the upper limb, and till the upper limb was being dissected I couldn't touch it. And when at first, and until we reached the axilla portion, my one teacher asked me to touch it, and I felt the first time I touched it, it was, I mean, it was so soft, and I don't know why I felt very weird. But after that I became gradually used to it. But initially when I touched it for a few days I couldn't eat food after the dissection hall. Like I was constantly thinking about it. I was not feeling feared, but I was feeling gross. And as time passed I still remember I became so used to it, like. But there was once we had to do dissection for our research topic, and I had got the topic of sciatic nerve, and I had to study sciatic nerve on all the corpses of our batch. So when I was dissecting and clicking the photos like while dissection, one of my gloves got torn, and I got my bare hand exposed to the dead body, and I felt very gross. And the same thing that I felt on the initial days of my dissection hall. But slowly I got used to it. I mean, I didn't get used to touching the body with bare hands, but I got normalized and didn't and I managed to like feel normal even after I touched. Sometimes the fluid touched my arms or my notebooks, and it got normalized. Basically it was a very not a exciting experience, though it was an exciting experience, but it was very gross for me. But I still loved it. I loved, I mean, this was the portion of the anatomy I loved the most. And then I remember studying bones in the dissection hall, and gradually I became used to the smell of the formalin, and it caused less irritation. Earlier I wasn't able to get inside without mask. And there's one story I'd like to tell you about my last day of dissection, of my final practical exams. I still remember Such a mess I made. So it happened that we had one external examiner and I was called. There was my last day of exams, you know, and then we had one external examiner and she was kind of sweet. Huh. So it happened that there were specimens all before her placed in big trays and I was standing right in front of her. So uh, there was a specimen of our pelvis region kept with the gluteus maximus on the top and the sciatic nerve going down it along with the lower limb, and I was standing in front. So for me, the specimen was actually placed laterally with the limb pointing towards my right and the gluteus pointing towards my, like the tip of the pelvis pointing towards me. So when I saw this, as I saw that, I don't know why it felt like uh, pectoralis major with the upper limb, though I wasn't sure, but I just spoke because she was rushing and I was panicking. I just said it was pectoralis major and she shouted, "Oh my god, pec major." How come you're saying that this is pec major? Then I said, "Ma'am, like it seems like it felt like I was seeing pec major. I don't know, it was just a part of the body and it's very difficult to identify." Maybe. I don't know why. I don't know why. I said that it's gluteus, it's pec major, and then she shouted, and the whole batch started laughing. And I still remember that was so embarrassing. Then, just as she said it's gluteus, I got active and said, "Sorry, ma'am, I'm really sorry." Then further she asked questions and then I gave all the answers correct. And then she said, "Beta, you are a good student. I've seen it. You seem like a good student. How could you commit such a blunder to say gluteus maximus as pectoralis major?" Then I said, "Ma'am, it's because like I thought it seemed like its pec major kept pointed towards me with limb placed towards my right side and I couldn't identify, and at the moment of Viva, you know now how much, like, I didn't say this to the professor, I'm saying this to you, that in the moment of Viva we all know what mess we made. We all make, like, it's nothing new, and I still get amused by this thought, and everyone I tell gets amused, and I still remember this was one of the best amusing experience I had in dissection hall. And there are many experiences, like it was very exciting seeing the brain pulled out of the skull, and the skull was like cut with the saw. I mean, it just made me feel nauseous from my stomach, though I don't know, but it was a great experience. I loved the dissection hall, though I didn't like the dissection. Like doing dissection, it was very. I felt like everything was, maybe I haven't mastered the art of dissection. Maybe I'm not interested in it, but still I loved the experience of dissection hall, and I though miss it, but it's okay. We have moved on, and right now we are having our forensic medicine exams, and we just went to the laboratory and I saw many exciting things, many exciting poisons, snakes, and firearms and weapons, and it's also exciting. Like every year is exciting. So this was all about my dissection hall experience of the first year, and maybe if I remember some good and many other experiences, I'll just tell you in next video. Okay, thank you for listening to me.